She said, I think I have way too many notes. No, not as
Okay,
well.
so I have to relax a little bit. I think I have my talk way too structured after Brooke's nice conversation there. I will introduce something about our family. My husband Paul, I think y'all know, is also a county commissioner, and we've been married 32 years, and we've always homeschooled our kids. We have 8 kids. They're ages 10 to 27. We homeschooled because Paul thought this was a good idea. When we first met, yes, Paul thought this was a good idea. The first church we went to in Dallas was led by a pastor whose wife homeschooled. Those were the first homeschoolers that we met, and they were awesome, and I loved their kids. But then Paul said, "That is a great way to teach children." And I said, oh no, because I knew I would be this teacher, and I thought, I am not qualified to teach. We didn't have kids yet, and Paul was already saying, oh, that's what we need to do for our kids, the kids that we don't have. And but I kept watching this family, and the kids were so nice and well behaved, and they were loving what they were doing with their mom. And before I had children, I was on board saying, oh, you're right, that's what we need to do for our kids. Kids that we don't have yet. So we now do have these 8 children. I have 3 who are home full time. One is 10, one is 14, one is 15. So we have a 5th grader and freshman and sophomore in high school. And now I'm going to tell you what sounds like great big brags, because I'm not here to tell you that you can't homeschool, or your friend, if you have friends who are interested, I want them to know that they can homeschool and the kids can excel. So I'm going to brag now. Let's see. Our oldest we have 5 who've graduated then from our homeschool. The oldest went to Baylor. He graduated with honors. He taught in China for a while, went to law school. He has passed the Texas bar. He's still going to school. He's at the University of Mississippi getting a Master's of Law degree, and we hope that he's actually going to get a job soon. He does say that he is interviewing for jobs. The next 2, let's see, also went to Baylor. We have a daughter who graduated with highest honors. She was Phi Beta Kappa. She got married while she was still at Baylor, and she's now expecting her 3rd child. Her husband he was also homeschooled, and he is getting his PhD at Notre Dame. He wants to teach political science. He's going to brainwash all the next generation about the Constitution and states' rights. That's his plan. The 3rd one went off to Baylor when she was 16. She graduated when she was 20 with highest honors, Phi Beta Kappa. Studied in Japan for a year. She's now at UT Law. She's at the very top of her class. I have one at Stephen F. Austin, who should graduate in December. She's 20 years old, so she's graduating a little bit early. And she had, part of her scholarship money is from Texas Right to Life. She is all about the babies. She would love to go to work for a nonprofit organization that is, some kind of pro-life nonprofit organization. Her degree is going to be in public relations, and she would like to do PR for a nonprofit. And then the last one who graduated went off to SMU. SMU is the most expensive university in the state of Texas. So it goes without saying that she has really good scholarships, both academic and talent. She's a music student at SMU. Okay, so that's the rundown on where all of them have ended up after spending all of their time home educating. That's that. Okay. So if you know somebody who's interested in homeschooling, the first thing they would need to know is what the rules are to teach your kids at home. And the state of Texas is just, they have such stringent regulations about homeschooling. So here are the things that you have to know, all the legal requirements that you must meet to teach in Texas. 1, the instruction must be bona fide. That is, it has to be real. It's not a sham. 2, the curriculum must be in visual form. It means textbooks, or computer monitoring. curriculum must include the 5 basic subjects of reading, spelling, grammar, math, and good citizenship. And that is what you need, those are the only legal requirements to teach your kids at home. Okay, and so let me just say this about that. As politically involved people, whenever you hear discussion about any new laws that are coming up, if they have anything to do with homeschooling, I would suggest to you that you push your legislators to just keep the requirements right there. We enjoy great freedom, like Brooke said, to do as we please. You know, we parents really do have the right to educate our children however we choose, whether it's at home or in some other private school or send them to public school. And we don't need extra regulation to make homeschooling work. And I'll get to that. I actually have all these statistics that you'll have to sit through. If you know somebody who would like to teach their kids at home, I do have a resource list, because one of the first things you want to do is find books. You want to find a curriculum. And I have a list that shows some of the places you can go for homeschool book fairs and conventions. There's more information out there than you can possibly take in. Homeschoolers today have a huge choice in the curriculum they might use. And one of the things, I also have a list of just a few of the curriculum suppliers. There are links to websites on there. One of them is actually a free program that has links to the books you might use. I would just like to point out that people shouldn't let cost deter them from homeschooling. You can spend several $100s on each kid, or you could go to the library and find the books you need and have a good backbone that you're following. You really could homeschool for next to nothing. So I would hate for that to deter somebody. I think it does help to have a support group or a co-op that you're going to, especially when you're first getting started, so they can make connections to other homeschoolers. And there are also there's contact information for people in those different homeschool groups that are in our area. I don't know if this really matters. I don't know that the people here, it might be good for you to know, if you know somebody who has their kids in public school and they were considering drawing them out, they don't need to be registered with the school district or receive permission to homeschool, but they would want to formally withdraw their kids from public school. I have information from Texas Homeschool Coalition, which, if you're interested, you can pick that up. If you go to their website, they actually have sample letters for, here's what you do if you want to withdraw your kid, if you need a letter or something like this. And then the school district really should leave you alone, but if you're ever contacted by the school district, all you do is send a letter of assurance saying, hey, I'm really meeting these basic requirements. Okay, so now you get all my fun statistics. If anybody was on the fence about whether you were really cut out to homeschool, and I was this way partly because that first mom that I met had been a public school teacher. So I had the attitude at first of, well, yeah, of course she can do it because she's trained to teach. And can I just say that's a really stupid thing to think? Because right now all my kids are, the ones who are at home are over at the YMCA doing their karate classes. I have several who have their black belts. 2 of the ones who are over there right now have their brown belts, which means they're working towards that black belt, and you may know how this works. Once you get to that level, you need to be able to turn around and teach the younger belts. That's part of what you have to do to move on to your black belt. You have to be able to teach others. And I would hope that after all of us have been through school, that we're able to turn around and then teach, especially to these children we love and adore and really want to pass on knowledge to. We're qualified to teach them. Dr. Brian Ray is a former certified teacher who served as a professor in the fields of science, research methods, and education. He's been studying the homeschool movement for about 30 years. He's president of the National Home Education Research Institute. Based on his research, he says, homeschool students score above average on achievement tests regardless of their parents' level of formal education or their family's household income. In fact, the home educated typically, and this is regardless of their parents' educational background, score 15 to 30 percentile points above public school students on standardized academic achievement tests. He also states that whether homeschool parents were ever certified teachers is not related to their children's academic achievement. So people shouldn't feel like, I'm not a certified teacher, or I only went to high school, or whatever. None of that really matters, and probably, I would say, it's because you have these children who are getting real one-on-one instruction. They have instructions that is tailored to their own abilities, to their needs, to their interests. You can hardly beat that. When that first homeschooling mom that I met, I did talk to when my son was 2 or 3 years old. I called her up and I said, oh, I think we're really going to teach our kids at home, and I need to know what to do. How am I going to get started? She said, read, 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 and count everything. Which, it seems pretty obvious. If you have preschoolers, that's basically what you do. But it's not like it's not brain surgery in terms of getting kids started. I still read to my kids. My kids who are in high school have to sit and listen to me every morning. That's how we start our day, is we do Bible study, and we usually read literature and or history. We have something, and it's helped my kids a lot to have that kind of, it's a way to have conversation with each other and kind of hopefully start the day out right. Let's see. If people are worried about how homeschooling might affect their children's choices after high school, obviously I already, did my little brag on my kids. They really, even though ours have definitely been on a college preparatory path, and God did give them good brains, they're not that unusual. People might sort of look at them and say, yeah, okay, well that's your family, that's what they did, that you guys are just geared that way or something. But no, here's some other statistics. Home educated students typically score above average on the SAT and ACT tests. They are increasingly actively recruited by colleges. There are now over 900 different colleges and universities. And this I love. There was this one article, it's back in 2000 actually. It was a Stanford University publication. Stanford kind of reaches out to homeschoolers. It has, it's not easy to get into, but they take in a handful of homeschoolers every year and have for quite a while. But so at the time this article was written, the university was tracking every application from a homeschool student. The forms got flagged with a special code that would let reviewers find them among these stacks of applications. They were kind of trying to track the trends. Why was the university so interested? Here's a quote from the article. Admission officers sum it up in 2 words: intellectual vitality. It's hard to define, but they swear they know it when they see it. It's the spark, passion that sets the truly exceptional student, the one driven to pursue independent research and explore difficult concepts from a very early age, apart from your typical bright kid. Stanford wants students who have it. So I think that's a great picture of what I hope we're giving to our kids, is that intellectual vitality. They keep their curiosity, they follow their passions, they have time to pursue particular interests, not just in order that they can be good college students. Whatever it is they choose to pursue, they're ready to be really good critical thinkers. I also have one more quote from Dr. Ray. He said that homeschoolers, as they grow up, they participate in local community service more frequently than does the general population. They vote and attend public meetings more frequently than the general population. So it's not just a matter of turning out good test takers. Hopefully we're turning out good critical thinkers who are going to be active in the community as well. The only other thing I was going to touch on, I think some of you probably know that this issue keeps coming up for the Texas legislature, and it's up again right now. This is the one thing that's sort of homeschooling related that's politically oriented, I guess. Currently, homeschool students in Texas may not participate in UIL activities, and every couple of years, it comes before the legislature. They're again working to amend existing laws so that homeschool students will be able to play in UIL activities. It's often referred to as the Tim Tebow bill. It's HB 347 and SB 391 are the actual bill numbers right now. Texas Homeschool Coalition is actually pushing for this. Personally, do not think this is a good idea. I just think, you know, I value the freedom that we have as Texas homeschoolers so much right now that I would rather not take the risk of allowing more restrictions to come in on homeschoolers. The Homeschool Coalition, in arguing for a bunch of homeschoolers who think this is a good idea because they're taxpayers, they're paying their tax money to support these activities, and they want their kids to participate, they swear up and down that, well, in other states where they have something similar, it hasn't caused more regulation. A lot of those states are already more highly regulated than Texas is, and the chances that we're opening the door for more regulation, I think, are pretty high. So that's my one political pitch. And I don't think I have anything else, except to say, people always, you know, are worried about whether homeschool students have enough social activities or whatever. Parents who homeschool have the same problems that any other parents do, and that's mostly that there are too many things to do. We tend to be overscheduled. You know, there's 4-H, and there's church, there's karate, there's music, there's theater. However, theater is a lot of fun, and so if you know some kids who want to do theater, I have little flyers because we're holding auditions next week for our theater company, so there's my final plug. That really is my final plug.